Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I think my mic doesn't work. Oh,
there we go. Why don't you just introduce yourself for a moment? Tell us who you are, and of course I've announced Twitter, but you can re-announce and what you do there. And most importantly, tell me what you're going to talk to everyone about today.
Great. Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Ampen. I'm based in Dubai. You may have heard that we opened our regional Twitter office in Dubai in August. So basically I'll be responsible for this office. We're building the team, we're growing pretty quickly. By the end of the year, we should be around 10 people from 0 in August. So it's pretty exciting times for us. Thank you very much for your time today. I will tell you today about the power of now. The power of now behind, this dramatic title is basically the shift in the marketing paradigm where you don't always need to do things around big events, the magpie events, if I can call them like this. It's basically about celebrating the mundane. Make sure you're where your customers are in terms of conversation. They can be not glamorous conversation, but that's the conversation that matter. And so I'll tell you about the power of now and basically how to grasp it.
Fantastic. So since Benjamin is with Twitter, before I let him take over, and in case that works, and tell you all about the power of now, what we're going to do is we're going to turn around and we're going to take a selfie.
Okay.
And you're all going to be in it, so we want you to wave to us. Okay, so
I just have something with my team. I'm going to do a duck face on the selfie because I decided with my team that any time there's a selfie, I'll do a duck face.
Okay, so everyone has to wave. Okay. So are you ready? 3, 2, 1, wave. Excellent. Over to you, Ben.
Thank you very much, Stuart. Great. So first of all, it'll be good if my presentation could start on slide 1. So as I said, I'm really, really happy to be here today. It's pretty exciting times for us. The whole region, although really diverse, has a lot to do on Twitter. We have a special relationship with the region. It's a really dynamic region, one of the fastest growing in the world. So again, thank you very much for your time today. And I'm particularly excited to talk here in Kuwait and at this event because I know there's a focus on small and medium businesses, particularly today, and we've just launched our self-service platform in the region. So we still need to work on it in terms of who can access to it, but now this is launched. So it means that any kind of business, not only the top brands of the country could be on Twitter. So this is really, really exciting time for us. So this is the middle of my presentation. I'll talk about it at some point. Can you just go back to the very, very first slide, please? And in the meantime, there's a tweet wall here, so I don't think you're always asked during presentation to use your laptop on mobile phone, but if you feel like tweeting, the hashtag of the day is hashtag MASHUP MENA. So anything you want to do, you can do it now. Thank you very much. We can get started. So as I said, I'll be telling you today about the power of now. The stage is actually pretty strange, so it feels a bit weird to have a barrier between us, so don't be surprised if sometimes I take nice poses or whatever, and feel free to come along here. So the power of now, as I said, it's about celebrating the mundane and how you can change the way you think about your marketing and the conversation you're jumping in. Quick show of hands. Who is on Twitter? All right, so great majority of the team. All right, so the first thing I'd like to show you about Twitter is basically a quick definition about Twitter for those of you that may not be too familiar with what we are. Of course, the way we define Twitter is a platform of interest and information. A platform of interest and information. You'll hear me saying those words a lot today. The way we present Twitter, when we talk to partners, to advertisers, to users, that's the best way to keep up with your word. I'm going to explain why. If you can go 4 times on the slide. So this is the 4 pillars that define Twitter. You have live, public, conversational, and everywhere for spread. So basically, live, it means that anything that happens in the world right now, it happens on Twitter. You hear about a sporting event, a big political moment, or even something that matters to your own world, you can see it on Twitter. Public. You don't need a Twitter account to see what's happening on Twitter, right? We just, got our partnership with Google. Now, when you do a search in Google, you can see as a first result what's happening on Twitter. And it's really important because the platform is not closed. Conversational. Now, I'm sure some of you in the room have been in meetings with creative agencies or even media agencies where you've been thinking, what if my brand, what if my product could have a voice? What would it say? Basically now, not only it's possible through Twitter, but it's expected. Stuart just before talked about customer service. A lot of brands are using Twitter and customer service, and this is just one way of using this conversational aspect. And spreads, or everywhere, is basically having tweets that live not only on the platform, but also off the platform. How many times did you see tweets on television? How many times tweets were used in newspapers or read on the radio? That's the point of having tweets living everywhere. And I definitely agree with what Stu said about don't put your eggs in the same basket, but just try to understand where your customers are, tell the whole story, and use Twitter to basically build a bridge between your different marketing initiatives. A great way to illustrate those 4 points, live, public, conversational, is not a black screen, but the video I'm going to play right now. That was compiled by Al Jazeera Video. This is an amazing account to follow on Twitter. So I suggest you follow, and hopefully you'll be able to see the video. Thank you.
I really want to go to MIT and TAMS, and I'm thinking about transferring schools from MacArthur to any different school.
It's a great story around the hashtag I stand with Ahmed. So now, if we shift to brands, what does that mean to you as marketers? How can you connect with your consumers in a mobile-first world? Why a mobile-first world? Because if you think about it now, in your pocket, in your hand, you have the whole world of someone. Anything that's happening, you can catch it on the mobile phone. 150 times, on average, this is the number of times that we unlock our phone every day. This is huge. Next slide. 8 seconds. I know someone in the room knows the answer because I had dinner with him yesterday. But do you know what this is? 8 seconds. Oh yeah, I know you know, but someone else. Memory, attention span. This is the attention span, not of goldfish, but next slide, of human beings. So it's just showing you have to be quick, and I think Stu referenced that. Next slide. And also why you have also to be in conversation that matter is because every day, we have more than 500 million tweets on the platform. Every 2 days, it's 1 billion tweets. So it's just showing it's a lot, it's a lot of data, but it's also a lot of conversation that may not be relevant to you. So that's why it's important to be in the right conversation. Another thing about mobile, what is important is actually on this part of the screen, so that's good. Periscope. I know that some people are periscoping right now. Periscope is an application that's been acquired by Twitter. It enables you to share and broadcast live streams. Now, on Periscope, we actually have more than 40 years of video watched every day. More than 40 years. This is huge, and this is a great way to tell the story of your brand or just to be where your customers are at. A good illustration of this is basically what happened a couple of months ago. I don't know if there are any sports fans or boxing fans. There was a big fight a couple of months ago between Pacquiao and Mayweather. And here you can see in real time all the tweets on the hashtag Maypac, billions of impressions. And out of this discussion, you had a lot of nice, conversation from really known people like Mike Tyson. Also people like you and me, pretty anonymous, but just jumping in a conversation because in that moment, that was relevant to them. Next slide. Next slide. So that's why, we think that the only day part is now. This is what truly matters to your audience. And I'm going to try to tell you why. But before answering, next slide. Next slide and next slide. Fortunately, I know my animation by heart. I'd like to take a step back for a second and try to think when we work with brands, with agencies, trying to understand what the challenges are at the moment so that the answers we're going to bring hopefully will be able to help you. So first, reaching fragmented audiences, right? The moment when you're talking about one of your customers can be everywhere. It can be consuming media on different platforms. Understanding the new purchase funnel, it's not about just going to a shop now and buying something. You have research online, buy offline, etc., a lot of models. And finally, connecting with rich experiences. So the 3 challenges, I'm going to try to give you answers on how to basically solve those challenges. So first hint for the first challenge, what if you could easily reach people in live mobile? Next slide. If you take all of these words, that's the concept of live reach. That'll be the first part of what I'm going to explain and illustrate. What if you could be more relevant all day, every day? Here, this is the concept of everyday relevance. And last but not least, what if you could deliver engaging content experience on mobile? And here, this is the engaging content. So these 3 points, I'm going to show you how on Twitter, people manage to basically catch the power of now through these 3 concepts. So let's start with live reach. So live reach, when I told you about Twitter being live and public, that was the Women's World Cup a couple of months ago. And, it started a lot of conversation all around the world, with fabulous match like this, US team versus Japan. So you had conversation from non-players, from broadcasters, from user. And all of these conversations, when I'm telling you it was huge, it was millions of conversation. You had more than 9 billion people talking, more than 9 billion conversation about it, and most of them, remember what I told you about, mobile being everywhere, happen on mobile. So this is about this, the live reach is on mobile and can be on Twitter. Remember, we have more than 316 million users monthly on Twitter, just on Twitter. And in a second, I'm going to tell you something pretty exciting about the off Twitter. Those conversations, happen at key moments as well when they won. And there were, the great opportunities for brands to jump in. You have Coke, you have McDonald's and Adidas, because those moments matter not only to their brands, but also to their customers. So that's what I was talking about in introduction, making sure you had the right moments to the right person with the right content. And it's happening in the region as well. There's no reason not to be proud of what we're doing here already, but a lot of broadcasters, and there should be some representation in the room, I saw some familiar faces, are doing it. It's the case on Arab's Got Talent, on Arab Idol, and Star Arabia. We have, the TV channels and the brand jumping in. And this is also something, you can go to the next slide, that brands can create. Brands can create live reach. This is what the Avengers did for the launch of their movie. Basically, in 18 countries at the same time, they press one button to put this a trailer at the same time. So you can play the video. They use Twitter video. And so in 18 countries at the same time, you had this trailer that could be seen by all the fans or all people who liked action movies at the same time. And that was pretty huge. That's, the cumulative impression they got. So millions, in the first 24 hours, 32 millions, and in total 500 millions. And what is important here is, at the beginning, the impact wasn't even made by advertising on Twitter. It was just made by jumping at the right time. That was organic, meaning impressions that were not paid for. And the results, were mind-blowing. It trended. So trending topic is when, that's the topic that most people are talking about, or that's seen the biggest acceleration from zero conversation to thousands of conversation, and in many, many different markets and different languages. The other exciting part about live reach, that's what I told you about going off Twitter. Because yes, on Twitter we have more than 316 million users, but now what we've just done, we've just launched Twitter Audience Platform that will enable any marketer to reach people outside of Twitter through apps. And thanks to this, we do that through the acquisition of MASHUP, that is the biggest mobile ad exchange. Thanks to this, we're actually reaching now around 700 million people. Because think about it, now every time you use an app, Stu talked about it, that's an opportunity to engage with your customers where they are. Yes, the app may not be really relevant, you think it's a weird game, but matter of fact, this is where your audience is, right? So what we're doing with Twitter Audience Platform is we're using the really, really powerful targeting signals that we already have on Twitter, and that gets us and gets marketer really high engaging rate. We're giving you the best reach in mobile because MASHUP is the biggest ad exchange, as I said. And in terms of creative, this is beautiful and powerful. So look, what you see on the screen here is, I apologize if you cannot read properly, but this is a tweet by Samsung Australia. Just a tweet with a picture, as you can do on the platform. Next slide. Here, this is a mobile app promotion ad on Twitter, something you can do on Twitter, just to download the app by Starbucks. And here, this is an ad, a video ad by Inside Out, the movie by Disney. So basically on Twitter, you can do that promoted video. So all of these ads live on Twitter. Now, this is what I told you about. Thanks to the Twitter Audience Platform, you can basically target your users when they open this app. So here I took an app as an example, and the same tweet that you saw will appear, in that case, as a nice image banner before. Nothing to do, just one click to expand it to the Twitter Audience Platform. If we take the example of Starbucks, that was about mobile app promotion and installs, same thing. Really nice content that you see before or during using your app. And the last example about video, we're seeing more and more video use, that'll be an interstitial when you use the app. So basically everything that you were doing on Twitter now, reaching all these people on Twitter, you can expand it to a lot of apps that your customers are using. So that was, the concept of live reach. Basically anything that happens in the world, you can reach them on Twitter, obviously on their mobile, but also out of Twitter. The everyday relevance. This is the really, really important point about celebrating the mundane. Remember in introduction I said that it's not just about, the very the very sexy and glamorous moments. So basically, what I mean by everyday relevance is, if you think about it, when you've been doing marketing for a long time, that's how we did it. We put people in categories. We used mainly the socio-demographic criteria to define the active socialite, to define the office professional, someone who loves networking and building his career. And obviously, I don't know if there's any representation from FMCG here, but the conscientious mother. She loves trying new activities with young children. Let's take a moment here. What if beyond those, fluffy categories, there wasn't something more powerful for you? What if this active socialite wasn't what she was? She was just pretending to write a guy's number right now to avoid him. She's on her mobile phone. That's an opportunity for you to jump in the discussion. What if this professional wasn't that, professional and was just a guy like you and me that sometimes find himself in a really embarrassing situation? And about the conscientious mother, I'm sure some people will recognize this case. Maybe they're not that conscientious, and at some point they're about to lose their cool because their kids are really annoying. My point here is saying that if you scratch a bit the surface of those marketing concepts, you can find relevant discussions, relevant conversation where you can jump in to help your customers. And how we do this? Basically, we have different ways of targeting events, media, interest, intent. I'm going to give you quick examples of how you can do that. So the first two one, if we take event and media through event targeting. So, you know, you have music events. So those really glamorous and sexy moments, you know, the Grammys, the Billboard Music Awards. Yes, a lot of tweets, a lot of conversation, millions of tweets. They're not always relevant to people who truly like music, and most importantly, to your audience. If we have a look now at the conversation about music in general, around the hashtag music, you can see that it's not million, it's more than 1 billion conversation. That's what I call celebrating the mundane. Yes, you can align your brand to really, really big events, but you know what? There are actually many more opportunities, if music makes sense to you, to just use this everyday relevance and jump in those everyday conversations. When it comes to interest and intent, the reason I say it's extremely powerful, it's because tweets and what you do on Twitter say a lot about who you are. So yes, social demographic criteria are important, but actually we think that what you do on Twitter, your interests are much more powerful when it comes to being sold something to. So let's take an example and play a little game. You're going to have to guess who this user is. So this user, it's a famous person. This user is interested in history and music. As you can see, he's following a couple of history-related accounts. He's following Pharrell Williams. Apparently he loves, you know, hiking, he loves nature. As you can see, one of his last tweets was about Yosemite Park and walking. But is also interested in tech and has a specific interest in basketball with, you know, a particular team. So all of this, there's nothing secret. Twitter is a public platform. All of this is just building a profile of a user. Any guess who this guy is? Yeah, amazing. Yeah, did I already present this to you? Or? So this is Tim Cook. So Tim Cook, CEO of Apple. So basically here, you had Business Insider that just had a look at what he was doing on Twitter, and based on this, they could say, this guy is interested in this. This is powerful for a brand that wants to target Tim Cook. And if you think not about Tim Cook, but about your audience, you'll basically have all those tweets that'll give you a better idea about what your customer thinks, about what your customer likes. That's why it's extremely powerful. If, you know, we take a look at any given moment in the world, all these, you know, flash, these yellow dots, they are conversation about something. It's everywhere in the world. In the interest of time, I'm just going to skip the animation. This is a conversation about coffee. So basically, almost everywhere in the world, you have conversation about coffee. You can go deeper, and you can see that every week, every day, you know, there are patterns. This is the everyday relevance. In the morning, in the evening, people tend to speak more. And then you have a look, you know, at the month level. Again, same pattern. These moments are predictable. If you are in CPG, in coffee, or anywhere related to coffee or getting together, those are moments that you can jump in. This is the power of now. And, you know, this thing is valid across the board. If we take a specific example about food and snack, we have people already doing it. Maggie is celebrating tradition, getting together by just putting a video on the platform to anybody who's mentioning food or getting together. Why is it smart? Because someone will be tweeting about food or interested in food will have this very right content at the right time. This is everyday relevance. You can also be extremely creative. Vine is an app that we acquired more than a year ago now. This is 6-second looping videos. And you can see how brands like Coke or Pringles are actually using this creative format to do nice things, to put their product in front of the users that are really interested. I tried to do a Vine of the boat and everything earlier. I mean, I don't know if it's that creative, but I mean, feel free to retweet it if you like it. It makes sense, because when we have a look at data, we see really, really big impact on what matters to marketers. Yes, it's less expensive. Yes, it's more efficient, you have bigger share of voice. And when it comes to CPG specifically in the US, that's the first test that we've done, you can see a sales uplift. That's what truly matters, right? Yeah, it's great to be in some conversation, but we want to sell at the end of the day. And we are seeing it on the first studies that we're doing. So this is the cheesy take your phone tweet moment of my presentation. Everyday moment on Twitter, I like the sun. You can start tweeting. They're predictable and powerful. Joke aside, I hope I showed you this concept of everyday relevance. You know what your brand stands for. You know what your product values are. Just working with us so that we could show you how to jump in this conversation, and what you can do with this conversation will really enable you to catch this everyday relevance. The last point, but not the least important, is engaging content. So on Twitter, it's been a long time that Twitter is not about just 140 characters, right? Now you have images, you have Vine, as we talk about, you have Periscope, you even have sound. You can do a lot, and you have video. And the reason why I'm talking about video as an example right now is because we've seen incredible results so far. So in terms of brand favorability, usually when we compare people who use video on the platform versus those who don't, we see a huge increase. In terms also of engagement, and in terms of where people are watching it, it's mostly on mobile. So if you're after reaching the people where they are every day, meaning on their mobile, the video format is extremely powerful. And it works for brands. So basically here, that was a trailer. At the moment in the region, Oreo has just launched a campaign that is pretty nice, actually. So on this campaign, that was really powerful for the brand. I wanted to make sure that the trailer was seen by people who were interested, and most importantly, they paid for people who were interested. So what we do on Twitter, when you do video ads, we have 100% viewability. I repeat, 100% viewability. It matters a lot. It means that you'll be paying only when your full video is on screen and start playing. This is not just 1 pixel and then 3 seconds. This is full video. Not all the platforms do this. So it's just for you to remember this. And this is extremely powerful. We did that, because we worked a lot with huge brands like Unilever. And so when you have the CMO of Unilever, Keith Sweet, telling you, well, I'd like to make sure I have the value of the money I invest, you want to make sure that you're doing what's right for your customers. So that's why we decided, as the first company in the industry, to do this 100% viewability concept. And we're doing it here in the region already. So you have example by Dubizzle, you have example by Samsung using brand ambassadors for the new unpacking. Dubizzle here was just showing an example of how when you have same outfit, same bag, what do you do? So that was kind of quirky example, but at the same time that was relevant to their audience. And the thing with video is we've seen with all the studies we ran that the emotional impact was deeper. I'm going to show you one of my favorite campaigns in the past month. This is something that was done by Always, and that was a video about what it is to be a girl or a woman in this world.
Okay, so I'm going to just give you some actions to do. I just do the first thing that comes to mind. Show me what it looks like to run like a girl.
My hair. Oh my God.
Show me what it looks like to fight like a girl. Now throw like a girl.
Aww. My name is Dakota, and I'm 10 years old.
Show me what it looks like to run like a girl. Throw like a girl. Fight like a girl. What does it mean to you when I say run like a girl?
It means run fast as you can.
So do you think you just insulted your sister?
No. I mean, yeah, insulted girls, but not my sister.
Is like a girl a good thing?
Actually,
I really encourage you to see this whole video. This is a beautiful campaign. It wasn't just a video. The video started this whole discussion. And you can see, you know, anybody from celebrities to individuals like you and me jumped in the conversation, you know, around this hashtag, like a girl. So that was the right moment to engage with whoever was interested, because anybody who would engage with this hashtag, with this conversation, was the right people to target. And in terms of number, that was pretty huge. Not only on this campaign, but on everything we're doing. You know, if your objectives are campaign awareness or purchase intent, when we compare people who are engaging with video promoted tweet versus those who are not, the increase is huge. More than 40%, you know, on both campaign awareness and purchase intent. So video is extremely powerful and it worked pretty well on Twitter. And the last stat about video, and I think it's a really important one, and when I was telling you about emotional impact, the sense of personal relevance on video is huge. And if you think about it, you're like, but why would I be more connected to a video? Look, now we have our mobile phones, and when you're watching a video, it's really you and the video, it's close, you're in your little bubble. So if you push your message as a brand, that's where, you know, you're gonna be actually more relevant than another kind of ad. And again, I mean, video here, I showed you it works really well on Twitter, but video is a format as such. Remember what Stu said, don't put your eggs in the same basket here. I'm not saying you should only do that here. You know, video is also when you do TV, and TV and Twitter work really, really, really well together. But back to Twitter. When we compare Twitter and other platforms, so that was comparing Twitter to all the other social media platforms that you know. When we have a look at the different stage of the purchase funnel, you can see that Twitter over-indexes everywhere, from awareness to advocacy, engagement, purchase, and interaction. So this is just something I'm going to leave you with, you know, seeing that if you are in the right conversation with the right content to the right people at the right time, basically, whatever your objective, you could actually be extremely impactful. And all of this, you know, you could achieve it through those 3 points we discussed today. Live reach, everyday relevance, and engaging content. If you've understood the 3 points, if you're ready to work with us about this, basically, this is really difficult to do a final dramatic effect when you don't have your, you know, your clicker, so just stay with me, and if it doesn't, you know, if it's not that powerful, just stay with me. And actually, we'll need to go back to the slide, please, because this is animation. Play the slide now. So now my, you know, effect is completely missed, but that doesn't matter. You know, if you want to catch the power of now, emojis are actually now available on Twitter. So live reach, everyday relevance, engaging content, this is the power of now. Thank you very much.